How we doing? Let's do ADC tier list. This tier list will be for patch 25.17, but I'll also kind of try to make it for patch 25.18 as well. Just taking into account some of the changes that they're gonna make to the ADCs, especially the Yunara nerf. We'll talk a little bit about that and how it'll affect her, and yeah, all that good stuff. Talk about every ADC, how I rate them, how strong I feel like they are. You know how we do it. It's a standard ADC tier list, pretty much. And we'll talk a little bit about the builds and unique interactions of every champion. If I'm missing something, it's your guys' fault. Hello, YouTube. Today we are doing an ADC tier list for patch 25.17, and it's also going to cover 25.18, and we'll talk about the different changes that'll happen, especially to Yunara and how it'll impact her with the nerf coming up. In general, we'll be going over just how good it is to play champion, how I'd recommend to climb on it, what builds to go, runes, all that good stuff, and we'll also be looking at statistics so that you don't just have to trust my opinion. We'll also have some stats to back it up. So let's start with Draven. Draven, I believe, is in a very weak spot compared to where he is normally. We'll be going through the list just, you know, based on the order that they're in. So I would put Draven either in B or C tier, to be honest, if we just get rid of Dante's huge lose streak here. We can see that Draven win rate, while not being insanely bad, is quite a bit worse than it usually is. Like, we could go back like quite a few patches, more patches than that. Okay, well, the thing is, he's been bad for a long time now, okay? Take my word for it, he's pretty bad. My point was I wanted to go back really far back so you can see a higher win rate, but we can't go back long enough. For a while, Draven in Emerald Plus had quite a decent win rate, and especially in Master Plus, like you might say, oh, 53% win rate, that's pretty good, but the average win rate in Master Plus is 52. It's not like insane, you know, it's not like insane. He's a champion that normally is very good in solo queue. Like normally I always have him A tier, but I think we're gonna put him low B tier for now. Low B tier for me. There's just not that many Draven players in Challenger. For example, me, I love playing Draven. I have not played him in quite some time now because I just don't think he's that good. Dealers, huge Draven player. Hasn't played him in a long time, even choosing to play Kalista over him, which, you know, is a questionable choice considering we'll go over Kalista later on, but she's also very bad, even worse, I'd say. But you get the point. Draven, not as strong as he usually is, gonna go into B tier. And then we have Twitch. So Twitch is always a bit of a hard one for me because he's just always really good in solo queue, especially in lower elos, but then in higher elos, once you start to punch his laning face a little bit, he can struggle a bit more. But I'd say for lower elos, for sure, Twitch for me goes into A tier. Even in higher elos, he can be pretty annoying to play into if you don't have like really good bot lane to punish him, and he gets to scale, and then he gets to 6, and then he wins the all-in through his ultimate and all that stuff. It can be pretty annoying. And Twitch is just a champion that will always just be able to get kills with his stealth. So if you're a Twitch player, just open mid from base, get a free kill, you know, snowball that way, and you'll just have a really good time, and then get really good at kiting in team fights. Whilst he coming up, maybe that'll help him out, make it easier to kite. All that good stuff. I believe just you actually have a lot of options on Twitch. You can go Yuntal, you can go Nashers if you want to go the AP route, obviously, and you can go Collector if you're really snowballing. You can even go Bork. I would think Bork would be pretty solid after the Bork buffs. Bork's always been a pretty good item on Twitch. Like you go Bork into Hurricane, into IE. I'm not a big fan of Collector personally, and when I tried playing Twitch and I played with Yuntal, it didn't feel insane. But I could see Collector being good as well, especially if you're snowballing right. You're getting ahead, you're getting a lead, and you can just one-shot people that way. I think that's a fine option to do as well. And then just for third item, IE, fourth item, LDR, you know how it be. Zeri. I think Zeri is really good as well. I think Zeri for me is A tier. Probably below Twitch though, especially in lower elos. Scale's fantastic. Great with Yuntal. Hurricane second. And then IE third. LDR or shield bow fourth. You're going to be doing a ton of damage. You have really good scaling. Great lethal tempo user. And just overall, really good scaling champ that's also really safe in the laning phase. Doesn't have incredible like laning power, but you don't really need laning power because you just get to survive the laning phase, then you get level 6, you have a huge all-in spike with level 6, very similar to Twitch, honestly. Just has more safety in the trade-off of having like the stealth that Twitch has. And then you hit level 6, you can win most all-ins, and that's kind of just going to be your baseline play pattern of Zeri. We have Varus. Varus is, I think we can kind of do Varus and Kalista at the same time, honestly. So I think Varus and Kalista are in very similar boat right now. If we look at Varus win rate, 47%. If we look at Kalista win rate, 46%. So Kalista a little bit worse than Varus, but I think both of them deserve a spot in D tier, to be honest. I just think they are really bad champions for solo queue because Riot has consistently and repeatedly nerfed both of them for competitive play. I think Varus, in higher elos, you can win lane hard enough on him to snowball, to leverage a win in the game. And you can say the same for Kalista as well. It's just, you're really playing League on hard mode. Because if you get to 20 minutes and you don't have a big lead, both of these champions feel pretty god-awful to play. Varus with the on-it build can feel okay if he's not up against a team that really fucks him, but even then, it's just really hard to pull off. Varus does have the added ability to go both lethality and on-hit, But Riot is really trying to nerf the lethality build out of competitive. And it's just, if you're a Varus main, I feel for you. And if you're an aspiring ADC that is tempted to play Varus or Kalista, of course, go with your heart. Play what you find is fun. It's a video game. If you are having fun, you are winning, even if you're not playing the most meta champions. You know what I mean? If you do care about meta, and you do care about playing champions that feel good and strong, I think Varus and Kalista are really not it. I would not recommend them whatsoever. Then we have Ziggs. Ooh, Ziggs, huh? Ziggs. I think Ziggs is actually kind of OP. At first, like, Ziggs got a very big buff, and after that buff, the few games I've played into him, it's felt very, very obnoxious to play into Ziggs. But I don't know if I want to put him in S tier or just high A tier. I think it's a bit like ADC bias if I put him in S tier, because I don't truly believe that he's an S tier pick in bot lane. I just think he's really good. I think he's really good, but I wouldn't say like insanely OP, broken, one-shot, you know, Oppa Gangnam style. I think if you're playing against Ziggs, what you need to keep in mind is that he's very weak early game. So just get push first few levels, right-click him level 1 if he's trying to get pushed against you. You hard win trades because your auto attacks do way more damage than his as long as it's an extended trade. And don't play in minions. If his Q, like, it's so easy to hit Ziggs Qs if you're staying in minions. In general, against mages, never stay in your wave, because if you stay in your wave, they can both hit you and the wave, therefore getting push plus poke. But you should make them have to choose between getting push or poking you by staying always outside of the wave, and it makes it 10 times easier to play. Trust me, just that one tip makes it 10 times easier to play. And once you have push, it should be pretty easy to play against mages because you just keep pushing them in. They're forced to use spells on the wave, aka they can't use spells on you, and then you can look to trade. All that good stuff. And then when you're playing Ziggs, just go like any lost chapter item that you feel is best for the game. If they have like lots of tanky boys, I think Blackfire Torch is good. Most of the games you're just gonna go be Ludens. If you really want a defensive option, you can go Archangels, but kind of cut. And then just go, you know, Shadow Flame into Rabadon and one-shot people and all that good stuff. Next up, Xayah. Xayah. I think Xayah is not the best. Let's see if the stats support me. My feeling is that Xayah goes into B tier with Draven, maybe even C tier, honestly. It's just the thing is she's a very situational ADC. What is Xayah really good into, right? Let's start there. Xayah is fantastic into full dive comps where she gets high value from her feathers, right? Because if champions are diving onto her, it's really easy to pull the feathers back in and get high damage. And into like dive comps where her ultimate has high value stuff in like into Vi, like even Talon, or these assassins that have these point and click like Zed, you know, where it's just like you ulti, you deny them of their point and click, and they're kind of... But even when they have champions like this, I prefer playing stuff like Xayah that has a ton of self-peel with the ultimate with the stealth, stuff like Tristana that can buffer everything with the W, stuff like Ezreal that can buffer everything with the E, and I just feel like they have a better laning experience than Xayah does, and also doesn't require as many items. The thing is, Xayah really needs Navori, which means that you need a first item, which will be Yuntal or Essence Reaver. I'd recommend Yuntal, into Navori, into IE, into LDR. That's 4 items, and you really need all 4 items to feel like you're really, really packing. Well, I feel like most of these other champions, like Xayah, for example, like Kraken Rageblade, you feel very strong. As Tristana, I just go Yuntal into IE into LDR. You feel really strong. You could do Yuntal into IE on Xayah as well, but Xayah is really reliant on Nabori. She really, really wants Nabori. So for those reasons, I have to put Xayah in C tier. I just think she takes too long to scale. She's too situational, but in the situations that she's good, she isn't bad. She can be A tier in the really good situational situations. But let's face it, at the end of the day, most of the time, we're picking ADC in the first 3 picks, when you see maybe 1 or 2 champions from the enemy team, and that's just, it's hard to make a really good decision based on that, because you won't know exactly what enemy team comp is going to be like. Maybe you see enemy ADC and you see enemy jungler, you know, and you don't know if Xayah is going to be a good pick. So in most games, she's going to be C tier. Then Misfortune. I actually don't really have a strong opinion on Misfortune right now, because I have not seen her at all in high elo. She's always a pretty good pick in lower elos, and given her decent win rate and decent pick rate, I'm definitely tempted to put her into low A tier. I feel like this feels kind of right to me. I just think she's always a solid pick. She has really good laning phase, very easy to play, and pretty decent scaling. You know, scales surprisingly well, especially if you're playing with a team comp, something like a Mumu or Lilia or Malphite, you know, something that can kind of set up that wombo combo for your ultimate. All you need is one good CC, you layer the ulti on top, and you can just wipe out a team fight. Scaling wise, she's not bad. She's not going to be something like a Jinx or an Aphelios or a Zeri, but she's still going to be able to have really high pop-off moments in team fights later on, as long as you play the fights well, so she feels rewarding to play in that sense as well. Then we have Ashe. So Ashe is actually getting buffed next patch, and I think after next patch buffs, I'm for sure going to put her A tier, but I think for now, I just want to leave her in B tier here. I don't think she's bad though. I'm not sure why, for example, here, this one is kind of weird to me actually, because we just saw MF here is 51.9% win rate and 6% pick rate, right? And she is A- tier. Ashe with a 0.5% less win rate is C+ tier. I don't know why Ashe is C+ tier when she has nearly the same win rate as MF and the same pick rate. And I would say that just Ashe is just like B tier, middle of the pack B tier, and then probably going to be middle of the pack A tier after that buff next patch, where she gets 0.5 more 80 per level. If the buff next patch was like an early game buff, I'd say that probably would push her up to S tier, because when Ashe is insane in lane, she's incredibly obnoxious. But with just that, I'm going to put her in B tier. Then we have Aphelios. I think this is actually maybe one of the best states of Aphelios we've had in a long time. Not that he's insanely good, but I can feel like pretty confidently and comfortably put him in B tier. I think the only thing is with Aphelios is you need to make sure that you're not playing into a composition that is unplayable. Like I just played Aphelios, Senna into AP Kog'Maw plus Nami, and that was pretty unplayable because they're just poking me from another screen and I have no engage, so I can't reach them and I just get kited. So as long as you're not playing into stuff like Caitlyn, Ezreal, Varus, these really long-range champions that can just keep you at bay, or Ashe, for example, or Ziggs, a lot of mages, is very hard to play Aphelios into. You're going to be good, but if you do play into those, it's going to be a rougher time. The one upside that you do have is that Aphelios is one of the best scaling champions in the whole game. If we look at his win rate curve, especially if we look at just like the last 30 days to get a better sample size, you can see the longer the game goes, better his win rate gets. It just gets better. It just gets better. The longer the game goes, it just gets better. And he's one of the few champions that just scales so insanely well. And the biggest reason for this is just how he gets so much stats per level as he continues to level all the way up to level 18. And just when you're level 18, you have so much more stats than anybody else in the game has. And you're just one-shotting people with your crits and with your blue ult, all that good stuff. High B tier for me. I like Aphelios right now. I think he's a good, solid pick, but still for low reload, he's hard to pick up. Takes a lot to master, and he's never the best solo queue champion. So unless you have a lot of passion for Aphelios, I wouldn't recommend playing him. He's not ever going to be like your flavor of the month type of champ. It's a champ that you need to put a lot of hours into, really one trick, really get deep into, really enjoy and see actual benefits from. Yuntal. I love Yuntal and Aphelios. I'm one of the few Yuntal enjoyers. If I can get BF Sword, I'm always going to look to go Yuntal. And the reason I love Yuntal and Aphelios is because then I can go Swifty Boots. And I love Swifty Boots on Aphelios. Just getting a little bit more of that move speed makes him feel a lot more playable. If I go Collector, since I didn't get Yuntal or enemy team is quite squishy, then I'll just go Collector plus Berserker Greaves into IE and then LDR. Always go LDR third and IE second. And then for fourth item, either go Shield Bore BT depending on what you need, and just kind of build situationally after that point. You know, GA if you need that, all that good stuff. And then we have Senna. Senna ADC. I think she's low B tier. I don't know why I just got like traumatized from Senna. Maybe C tier actually. I think she's pretty mid. She's not terrible by any means. She's not terrible, but I just don't think she's great. It's like you can kind of play Ashe and get the same thing, just a better early game. Both are like utility heavy ADCs. The thing is Senna provides like the heals and shields and stuff. I think Riot is really lost on what they want Senna to be. If they want her to just be a support, if they want it to be kind of like an ADC as well, or if they want it to be a bit of both. And it's just, maybe maybe I should put her B tier though. I don't think she's that bad. I'm gonna put her C tier. I just don't think there's that much value in playing her. She was really OP on bot lane at one point when her souls had like 10% or was it 14% drop rate from minions, something like that. It was insane. But now after that nerf, she's just not that crazy. I think if you want to play her ADC, Static Shiv into Black Cleaver, into IE is going to be your best bet. And then once you get like, I mean, Rapid Fire third is going to be good as well. But as long as you get that Infinity Edge completed, you have then the pen from Black Cleaver. You proc it really fast because it procs 2 procs per auto attack. And you have the Static Shiv for Wave Clear because her Wave Clear is unplayable otherwise. And then you can kind of play the game that way. And I think I'm changing my mind. We're putting her low B tier. We have Lucian. I think Lucian is pretty damn solid. I would definitely put him in high B tier or A tier. I'm surprised actually how highly is being rated here by A tier maybe. I think it's actually pretty good. I don't play him that much. I'm not the biggest enjoyer of Lucian, but I do think he's quite strong. He just has a ton of, actually I'm kind of a Lucian enjoyer. I played him a lot right after the E buff and enjoyed him quite a bit. And I actually should play him some more, I think. Looking at these stats, it's pretty decent for sure. He has a ton of value just from getting Essence River and then getting Navori or IE. I would recommend trying to go IE in most games. I've found that I think he's kind of similar to Tristana in that if you can just get Infinity Edge, then you just one-shot people and you don't need the cooldown reduction from Navori. I would try to go IE second if you can. If you don't get the purchases you need, like the BF sword, all that stuff, you can opt into Navori. It's cheaper as well, right? Easier to get. Then trying to get IE at least by the third item, and then LDR by fourth item. Lucian, low A tier for me. He's a solid champion. Really good with Braum, really good with Milio, really good with Yumi, really good with Sona. Has quite a decent bit of pairings these days. You can play him with engaged supports as well, like normal engaged supports, and have a good time as well, like Nautilus, Rakan, all that good stuff. But those previously that I mentioned are like the best combos. I don't like Lucian Nami. I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but every time I was playing Lucian and my support looked in Nami, I felt kind of sad because normally they would be first timing Nami, and I just don't think the combo is actually that good. I think Lucian Milio and Lucian Yumi and Lucian Sona are all better enchanter combos that just scale better and provide more and just make Lucian feel better to play. Because I feel like when you play Lucian Nami, you have an extremely one-dimensional playstyle. Either you one-shot them or you can't play. While if you play with like Lucian Sona, Lucian Yumi, Lucian Milio, you can both one-shot them, but you can also play extended fights, high combo, dash around, all that good stuff. And we have Xayah. Xayah for me, high A tier. I think Xayah is really solid after the Kraken buff a few patches ago. Maybe even goes into like, I think she goes top of A tier. I don't know if I want to put her S tier. Definitely top of A tier. Maybe I should put her S tier, honestly. I think she's really good. I think she's really solid. Has great scaling. You can go both AD or AP. Ideally, you want to go Kraken into Rageblade, into Nash's Tooth, into Rabadon or Void Staff, and then Sonya's or Rabadon last, or Banshees if you need MR, just situational items last, right? Ideally, you want to go the AP on it route if you can. If your team is full AP and you have to go 80, then I'd say you should go Kraken into Rageblade into Terminus. I don't recommend Yuntal anymore, especially after the Kraken buff. I just think Kraken is way better, and Kraken has always been better on Xayah. I think the whole Yuntal hype was very fake, and I didn't like it at all. I think it was always bad. Just the champion doesn't scale at all off of crit. But I've had so many rants about this. I'm not going to rant about Xayah builds again, but just know that every champion that buys crit in League of Legends has things in their kit that makes them scale with crit, but Xayah doesn't. It doesn't make sense to buy crit on Xayah. I'm going to put her high A tier. Maybe I'll change my mind and put her S tier, but for now, I'm going to put her A tier. And then we have Yunara. Yunara for me, S tier. S tier for sure. I think not Yumi, that champion is not S tier, but Yunara, maybe the stats don't support it. I just think she's the best ADC on the patch right now. After the nerfs, though, we need to talk about the nerfs. First, let's talk about builds. I think for now, Bork is the best item on her. I go Bork every single game. Kraken used to be the best item on her. If we look at last patch, you'll see that Kraken had quite a bit better win rate than it does now. But then they changed the interaction with her Q and the Kraken so that you don't get like an insane amount of procs whenever you activate your Q with Kraken Slayer, but you do still get an insane amount of Bork procs when you use your Q. So I would recommend going Bork into Hurricane, into IE, into LDR or Shield Ball, depending on what you need, and then going to last every single game you play. Abuse her while you can. Abuse her while you can. Because I think after the nerf is coming, she's going from S tier to probably low B or C tier, because that nerf that she is getting is brutal. She is losing 25 HP, 3 AD, 20% move speed on her E, and not getting scaling E moon speed duration. E is getting nerfed early game and throughout the whole game. Her base AD is getting nerfed early game, and her base HP is getting nerfed early game, and her E moon speed duration is getting nerfed. So probably you're going to be maxing W second after this change, because E gives very little now, and you're going to be struggling a lot more in the early game stages of the game. So after the nerfs, I would probably put her low B tier. Around here would be my guess to where she slots in, but as of right now, she's an insanely good champion in solo queue, and I highly recommend playing her. And she's also a ton of fun. Reminds me a lot like a mix of Zeri and Xayah, and yeah, I've really been enjoying playing her, and I'm quite sad that they're deciding to nerf her so hard. I think if they just did 2 out of these 4 nerfs, like if they just did the E nerf or they just did the base HP nerf, that would be enough. And I would have liked to see them do that. It is what it is. Maybe they'll buff her if she ends up being too weak. And then we have Smolder. I think Smolder is actually really good, especially in low relos. I think he has a really good laning phase. We got to talk about how this tier list system is. How is it that Yunara has 50% win rate, 17% pick rate, and she's A tier, right? Smolder is 51.6% pick rate, 51% win rate, 9% pick rate, and it's B tier. I don't understand how LoL Lytics is a tiers, but we don't care about the tiers. We don't care about their tiers because we're doing our own tiers. I think Smolder, for me, slots into A tier. Just a great solo queue, low elo pick. He has a good enough early game now that you can actually win lanes. And then if you win lane, you scale very well. Very good wave clear. You have quite a bit of range with your ultimate. You have a lot of mobility with your E, so you have a kind of self-peel. You have great scaling. You have kind of everything you need. And he's pretty satisfying to play as well. He's also very easy. I think one of the easiest ADCs they've released recently. And yeah, just overall a great low elo pick. If you're looking for a low elo hyper carry and you like this kind of stacking playstyle, fantastic pick. Just go Essence Reaver into either Shojin or IE, and then go rapid fire third. And then fourth item, it kind of gets situational at that point. If you need armor pan, if you want defensive item, if you need, IE if you haven't already gotten it. I think Shojin second is good when you feel like you need HP. When you think you can just go full aggressive, then IE is just going to be a lot more damage. Then Kog'Maw. I just got fisted by a Kog'Maw, as I talked about earlier when I played my little Aphelios. But he is quite a niche champion. But I'm very inclined to definitely put him in A tier. I feel like low A tier for me fits well with Kog'Maw. I think I kind of want to make the tiers more like this. I think Lucian should be all, should be like this. Like this, I like more. Yeah, I like more this. He's just a very good pick into tanks. He can also go AP, as AP Kog'Maw has gotten buffed. And I think maybe it's like kind of hidden strong. I wouldn't be surprised if we're maybe going to be seeing more AP Kog'Maw prop up. As you can see, it has a pretty good win rate with Luden's first item. I mean, all his first items have very strong win rates. If you can get Rageblade first, I mean, that's 56% win rate. That's pretty damn insane. I'm not gonna lie. Bork first, Rageblade first. If you can, the thing with Rageblade first is very greedy because the build path is quite weak. But if you can get away with going Rageblade first, like you don't need the lifesteal from Bork or you don't need a really strong build path, then Rageblade first, you complete that and you can go Hurricane second and you're just incredibly strong on the Kog'Maw. You can even go Master second if you want to go like full AP route. I think Kog'Maw, really good champion, has a lot of build variety, more than I can really cover in this short amount of time frame. I'd recommend you kind of look into him and see what type of builds fits best for every single game, and then you can kind of figure stuff out on your own there. Corki. I think Corki's kind of mid, honestly. I know maybe some people still think Corki is strong. I think after the recent changes, for me, I think he's kind of trash, to be honest. When enemy team has Corki, sometimes I get surprised about his burst and I get fisted a bit. But I feel like if I don't get fisted in lane, this champion is so garbage. I think he's so garbage. And if I can dodge his ultimates, like have some movement, dodge his Qs, dodge his ultis, he just feels garbage. Yeah, I don't know. I played support for a Corki today. We played against Yunara. We lost level 1. And I'm like, what the fuck does Corki do now? He gets outskilled. And I'm not a big fan of Corki. I think he's not very fun. I think he's kind of failed rework. If you do want to play him though, I think you definitely can. Just keep in mind that you are playing a champion that really wants to snowball, really wants to be a lane bully. You spike really hard at 2 items, very similar to Ezreal. And you're going to be going Trinity Force into Man Immune, into like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Some people go more for like a crit route and some people decide to go more for just like this kind of tanky, like they go Black Cleaver third, then Shojin 4th, or the other way around, and you just go like full HP stacking. I think it can be good against teams that don't have much percentage HP damage and struggle against killing beefy boys. Otherwise, you just go like Collector 3rd or Rapid Fire 3rd into IE 4th, and then LDR last. Some type of jazz just like that. Then we have Ezreal. Ezreal as well is very similar to Corki, and he's also really struggling right now. I'm gonna have to put him into C tier as well. He's just, you know, Dragdar has said it best himself. He's really unplayable right now, very hard to make work. I know Drydar's been trying to cook with some builds, but just doesn't look like anything is really sticking and just looks really hard to win on. You have to put in a lot of effort, hit a lot of Qs, snowball very well the laning phase. And if you do, maybe you can get a win. But even then, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. I wouldn't recommend picking Ezreal up. If you're an Ezreal one trick, you can still make it work, but it requires a lot of effort to actually make work. If you're going to play him, Trinity Force into Man Immune, very similar to Corki. And then for the third item, most of the time you're going to be going Shojin, and then Cyrilda if you need the armor pan, BT for lifesteal, all that good stuff. And we have Sivir. I think Sivir is actually really good. I think Sivir for me slots into, oh, she's actually rated as highest ADC. That's crazy, actually. Rated as S plus tier according to Lolalytics. I don't think I'm going to put her S plus tier. I think she's just high A tier. I think S tier for me will probably be reserved just for Yunara. I'll have to think about it though as we continue down the list. I just think Sivir is really solid. Yuntal I'd recommend over Essence Reaver Honor. I like Yuntal more, has quite a bit higher win rate. I just think Essence Reaver is kind of a shit item. The only champ I think actually loves Essence Reaver is Lucian. Every other ADC, I think Yuntal is pretty much just better. And then for second item, IE or Navori, depending on what you can get. And then for third item, whichever one you didn't get, and then LDR 4. You're gonna be good to go. Sivir, very easy to play, great wave player, similar to Smolder, and you're just kind of scaling up. And then once you get to 2, 3, 4 items, you can actually start to do a lot of damage and take over the game. She's also very good into similar comps to Xayah, champs that dive onto you, where she can actually auto-attack, and she has the self-peel of the spell shield and the moon speed from the ulti. While if she gets really heavily outranged, she can struggle due to her low range. Tristana. I love Tristana. One of my favorite champions in the game. They call me the Umpinator. I think she's also very strong right now. I'd peg her definitely in A tier here. I think somewhere along here, very good in solo queue. Great early game, great snowball potential. If you start to get a lead, you can always jump forward and it's just unplayable for enemy team. Go Yuntal, don't go Collector unless... If you can't get Yuntal, like you can't get the BF sword and it's just unplayable, sure, go Collector. But 99% of games, you should be going Yuntal. It's a much better item on her, makes her scale so much better, makes you able to skip Navori, so you can go Yuntal into IE, into LDR, and you just one-shot people when you get those 3 items. Trust me, play that build, go PTA if they're squishy, lethal tempo otherwise, and once you get 3 items, you're going to be doing so much damage that you're going to surprise yourself. Trust me, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Highly recommend Tristana. Incredibly versatile champion that can be played with any type of support, any type of scenario, against any type of comp, excels at all stages of the game, scales insanely well with the range. Ideal package, I think. If you want to play one ADC every single game that works in high elo, works in low elo, Tristana is the big. Vayne. Vayne. I think high B tier for me. She's better in low elo. In low elo exclusively, I'd probably put her in A tier, somewhere along here. But since this list is both for lower elo and higher elos, I'm gonna have to put her B tier. She struggles a bit with her low wave clear and just her low range. But in lower elo, where people are not that good at manipulating the wave and doing all that stuff to make it hard for you to play the game, you can just fight. And she excels at fighting, she excels at dueling. So then you're just gonna have a good time playing that 2v2 out. And then for builds, I'd recommend going either Bork or Kraken, depending on Bork, if you really think you need that percentage HP against the enemy team. Otherwise, Kraken, just incredibly solid on her. Gives you move speed, gives you on-hit procs that proc more with Rage Blade second. And then after Rage Blade, you can really go wild. You can go pretty much, as long as you get either Bork or Kraken first item, and then Rage Blade second, you can go any item. Third, fourth, fifth, and the build is going to be okay. You can go Triforce, you can go Terminus, you can go Randuin's, you can go Hexblade, you can go Mercsim, you can go BT, you can go, I don't know, Jack Show, you know, you can go any item, depending on what you need. You got to use your brain a little bit, figure out what situational items are going to be best in the game. Then Caitlyn. So Caitlyn, I think, is pretty bad. Caitlyn, for me, definitely goes into C tier. I think, actually, maybe it's B tier, though. Maybe it's B tier. Because I don't think she's as bad as Corki, Ezreal, Xayah. I don't think she's as bad. I think she's B tier. Yeah, low B tier for me. Just doesn't really have that much of a point. People aren't really playing Lux. People aren't really playing that much Karma. If you do have a Lux or a Karma, she's going to be decent. You can poke the enemy ADC down, make his life miserable, get a big CS lead, get a lot of plates, snowball that way. But if you're not able to do that and you're just playing with like a Nautilus or something like that, then it's just like, why the fuck did we pick Caitlyn? We could have just picked the normal ADC that just has a much better mid game and much smoother spikes. Because the thing with Caitlyn is she's really strong early game and she's really strong really late game. But that in-between phase is super awkward, where you just don't feel that strong. And, you know, like, Yuntal is not really good on her, so you're gonna go Collector, and then you have to buy Collector, and I don't really like Collector. So you go Collector, IE, and then LDR, or Rapid Fire, but then if you don't go LDR, it's like you're delaying your pen so much. So I'd recommend to go LDR third, but then you kind of want Rapid Fire fourth, but then it's like you gotta go BT fifth or GA fifth, and it's like, the whole game is like, yeah, you know? And then you finally get that last item, and you're like, holy shit, now I'm doing a lot of damage, but up until that point, it feels kind of mid. So yeah, Caitlyn, low B tier for me. Nilah is a really weird champ. She is one of the weirdest ADCs. She is the weirdest ADC we have in this game. She's always high win rate, but nobody plays her. And I never get to play against her. And when I do get to play against her, I just think to myself, this champion is so OP. And then I try to play her, and I think to myself, this champion fucking sucks. And I hate how clunky she feels. Like, why do we have Samira E, which feels insanely good, and then we have Nilah E, which has a fucking delay to it and feels dog shit in comparison to Samira E? Like, I don't understand how Nilah came after Samira. Samira feels 10 times smoother. Like, you press EQ on Samira, you feel fucking good. It feels great. You press EQ on Nilah, I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure. It feels dog shit. What is this clunk? How is it clunk? What is this, bro? What is this clank? So yeah, I don't like Nilah at all, play her, but that doesn't mean she's a bad champion. She is very situationally strong. She's very annoying to play against, especially if you're playing an immobile ADC that she can all in. So if I'm playing Aphelios and they're playing Nilah, it's going to be a tough time. It's going to be a very tough time. If I'm playing like Tristana, however, it's pretty chill because she can never really all in me. I can just jump away, and then later on I start to outrange her a lot. But I will put her in high A tier. You have the caveat though that she's very situational, like trying to play Nilah into Poppy, for example, is unplayable. That is so unplayable because you have to go into Poppy's range. You can't outrange her, and then Poppy presses W, stuns you up against the wall, and you're dead, buddy. Samira, similar story to Nilah, also very situational, but a little bit more of a pub stomper in the sense that she's kind of the Katarina of ADCs. If you do get ahead, just get Collector, IE, and start snowballing, and then go LDR third, and you're kind of one-shotting people, but it's hard to get ahead due to your laning phase not being that good. But I'm gonna put her, I think right here, middle of B tier. She's pretty decent, especially in low reloads where you can actually get fed. But in high reloads, as people start to get a little bit better playing the laning phase, and you can't really get that strong of a lead, she's gonna be really rough. But I think into team comps where they have low CC, like if they're like a Viego jungle, Jace top, and then like a mage mid and a normal bot lane, she's really solid. But if they do have stuff like Poppy, stuff like Maokai, stuff like, I mean, she's pretty good into Ornn, but stuff like Malphite, you know, these normal tanks that just have really easy CC to apply to Samira, she's gonna have a dreadful time. It's really hard to play. So it's really a champion that you wanna see at least 2 to 3 champions from enemy team But maybe ban Alistar would be a good ban. I think that would be the best support ban that I can think of. And ideally you have like a Rel or Renata on your team because you're playing with like Sona or Soraka. It's really dog shit. You know, so she's quite situational. But in the right situations, she can be pretty damn good. Then we have Jinx. Jinx is just always a champion that I highly recommend for low elo. I think she's kind of been for me, we can slot her pretty safely just into the middle of A tier. I do think though that like Sivir and Smolder has kind of taken her throne as like the easy to play, high wave clear, good scaling ADCs to play in low elo. Because normally Jinx would always be the queen of that and always be the one I recommend. But now I think Sivir is kind of just stronger. I think Smolder is also kind of just stronger. They both just have a little bit higher kill threat and a little bit more damage and a little bit easier to pull off in team fights since they both have more reliable self-peeling tools, as Jinx traps can be good, but they can also be pretty unreliable in a lot of situations. And then for the build, I'd recommend just go Yuntal into IE, into Hurricane, into LDR, and the last item, situational BT or GA, depending on what you need. And it's pretty simple. The early game should just consist of you pushing with your rockets. You should always get pushed in nearly every lane, as long as you have something like a Draven Pike, which is really scary. And then you just leverage the fact that you have push to have like a free scaling lane, and you try to abuse your longer range with rockets, and make sure you're not spamming your W too much so you don't go and everything should be pretty fine. Seraphine is a menace on the North American server, but on EU West, we really don't see her much at all. If we look at pick rates here, on EU West, she has a 0.6% pick rate, while if we look at NA, she has, well, that's actually way lower than I thought, but if we look at Master Plus, well, that's also so low. What was Hamza talking about? I was told that this champion is everywhere on NA. But apparently it's not. Holy shit, the win rate is dog shit. What? I don't think Seraphine bot is very good. I think when they have Seraphine bot, I think to myself, this shit is a free win. This shit's a free win. That's what I think to myself. Because you just get the skill for free. You can just perma push her into tower. Her skills move at in turtle speed. So if you get hit by, like if you're getting hit by Seraphine spells, I'm sorry, buddy. We gotta work on the movement. You need that WASD. You need that WASD quickly. Because we cannot be getting hit by Seraphine spells. That's just too easy. Just play outside the wave, push her in early, make her life miserable, and you should get a pretty big lead just from CS, even if you can't actually kill her. And then you should have picked a good scaling ADC, as the majority of these ADCs scale better than her, unless she has like insane Bruiser, 2 Exodia that just take over the game. You should be fine. You know, Ziggs is just much better than her. Much better than her. We have Jhin, last ADC of the tier list thus far. And if I'm being honest with you guys, if I'm being completely honest, filter the stats normally like we've been doing for the others, he's pretty mid, B tier. He just doesn't really excel right now, I think, into anything. I normally love to play Jhin, and I have not played him at all recently because I just don't see like when would I really want to pick Jhin right now other than something else. Most of the time I'd rather just play a hyper carry and scale that way. And even if I need some, like my team needs utility, I feel like Ashe does the job a little bit better, and MF would do the job kind of similarly, and even Smolder could provide some of that ult slow, W slow, all that good stuff, and just safe scaling range, you know? So yeah, I think Jhin in the right circumstances, if you really do need that utility, can be all right, but most times you're gonna be better off just picking something else and picking something that scales better, that can have more impact in the game. For build, you're just gonna going Collector into IE, into Rapid Fire or LDR third, depending on if you need armor plan or range, and then the other one fourth. And then for last item, GA and BT. And you're going to be pretty solid, but not the best right now. Not the worst either, but just pretty average, I'd say. Not insane by any means. And yeah, there you have it. That was our ADC tier list for patch 25.17, also covering patch 25.18 and all the changes that will potentially happen. TLDR of that is just Yunara will be moved down to B tier and Ashe will be moved up to A tier, and everything else should be relatively the same. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the tier list and that you can climb in solo queue. Wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope you guys don't get full losing topside and a noob support that just leaves you. That's just not fun. It's just not fun.